All right, episode 2 of the CrossFit Paladin podcast. I have longtime member Steve Bryant with me, and we're going to talk about all things, fitness related, our normal questions as to why he got started, how he found us, what his fitness routine looks like. And we're also going to dive into fitness and aging because Steve is one of our older members. And I think he's just a great example for people to see that just because you may be, over 40 or 50 or in your 60s, like Steve is, you don't have to stop exercising. And in fact, it's pretty important that you continue to exercise. So Steve, tell us a little bit about yourself to start.
Well, okay. Yes, I am 66 years old and I'm very proud of it. I think the Lord has blessed me and allowed me to live this long. And so with that, I think I need to take care of the one body that he provided me. I've always been someone who works out. The challenge that I had was finding something that was interesting and not boring.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that makes any sense, but before I found CrossFit, I was working out at a gym, and I would regularly have to convince myself that I should go.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went to the gym, I did the same thing over and over and over. And I was complaining to my son about that, Shane, and he said, "You really ought to check out CrossFit." I had been, let me press the pause button there because several years prior to that, I want to say it was 2009, somewhere along in there, I went to the hospital for the first time needing bypass surgery. I had a clogged artery on my heart, 97% clogged, and the doctor called that particular artery the Widowmaker. Well, that didn't make Natalie very happy. So
No.
we had to get that taken care of right away. And there are pivotal moments in our life, and I think that was a pivotal moment for me. It made me realize how fragile life was and how close I had come to the edge. So I made a decision to change my lifestyle. Try to get control of the way I ate and all those sorts of things. So it started slow. A friend of mine showed me FitnessPal. So I started logging my meals. I'm not sure I was doing the right kind of nutrition, but at least I was keeping track of it.
Right.
So that was helpful.
Yeah.
And I was able to drop about 30 pounds just by logging my meals. So know that if you keep track of what you eat, it will become painfully obvious that you need to control your portions, which I find to be very important. But now back to the gym story. I was a regular gym visitor and not making very much progress because it was boring.
Right. What would be your typical routine at the gym?
It never included any cardio because that made my heart beat too fast and I got all sweaty. And I would caution people against using any gym that has mirrors around it because that tends to attract the wrong sort of not clientele, but the wrong sort of emphasis. And so you just avoid those if you can. That's what I like about this gym. There are no mirrors except in the bathroom, and that's where the only mirrors need to be. But my workout would look like machine bench presses, machine curls, machine leg presses, machine extensions, everything machine. I didn't want to mess with the free weights because those were harder.
Mm-hmm.
And so you see that when you're doing something that you don't have much guidance on, you don't do the right things. And the more I went, the more bored I got.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to Shane about it one time, and he said, "Try CrossFit." And I kept putting him off. Saying, "I don't know about that. Sounds like I don't know." And he persuaded me to come to one of the opens you were having at the gym.
I still remember that day.
I do too. And what surprised me when I came through the door was the family environment. mean, I saw families there.
Mhm.
I think there was even a dog there that night,
Mhm.
a very large dog, if I
Probably.
recall. And that pup was just as friendly as he could be or she could be, visiting everybody. And there was what impressed me is that nobody was interested in themselves. They were interested in encouraging the people around them.
Yeah.
That was an eye-opening event for me. And so I think maybe it was the next Monday or something. Anyway, I came to the gym with Michaela, my daughter-in-law, and I did a trial workout, and you said, let me give you a free week. I think it was.
Mhm.
And I was hooked.
Yeah.
And let me tell you why I was hooked. It was a structured workout, but it was so varied. So many different motions, so many different movements, made my heart beat fast and made me sweat a lot and made me very fatigued, which I had not experienced any of that in the previous workouts.
So here's a question that I just kind of thought of as you were talking about your previous workout routine. At that time, when you were going to your, traditional gym, what, on a scale of 1 to 10, what level would you rate the intensity of your workouts then? And then what would you rate those same workouts now?
The old style, the intensity was maybe 4.
Mm-hmm. Now, at the time, did you feel like it was a 4, or at the time, did it feel like it was more intense than?
It felt like it was more intense than a 4.
Okay.
I kid when I say I didn't sweat. I did sweat, and I did breathe hard, but it was not the same type of intensity that I discovered in CrossFit.
Right.
Because in order to really get your heart rate up in the old style, for me anyway, I'd have to get on a treadmill or get on a bike or trot around the track.
Yeah.
Trot. However, my first workout in CrossFit, I would rate it as a 10 plus intensity.
Right.
I mean, it was, it's funny when I saw the first open, I would see these people literally fall off of rowers or drop the bar and collapse on the floor. And I'm going, wow.
Dramatic.
What is Mr. Drama or Miss Drama? Well, no, it's not drama. It's you have pressed yourself to the point where your body just says, I need to go down.
To lay down.
You lay down. And that's what I discovered in the first workout. And Melissa, I still remember you coming to me. I'm laying on the ground. I thought I was breathing. You said, you need to breathe. I said, I am breathing. You said, no, you're panting. You're not doing yourself any good. I never got that kind of coaching anywhere else. Yeah. As simple as, no, you don't, that's not the way you breathe when you're trying to recover. Deep breaths, controlled breaths, try to slow things down. Simple stuff like that. Yeah. And that's another thing that CrossFit gives you is it gives you a coach. Coaching, very important. Because without a coach, your movements are likely wrong.
Yeah.
Your intensity is likely not what it could be. And wrong movements, wrong intensity lead to injuries and undesirable results.
Yeah. And just ineffectiveness too. If
it's not effective.
If you don't have a good form and technique and you don't have that intensity, you can end up just kind of spinning your wheels. Now, obviously something is better than nothing, and going to the gym and doing something is generally going to be better than not going at all. But I think having a coach is very helpful and under emphasize that that's how important it can be for people. So you started, and did you have any we decided it was like right at 4 years ago.
April of 2017.
Yes.
We looked it up.
It's a funny story behind that, but so it has been 4 years. So you were already in your 60s. Did you have any concerns about getting started with it, or were you just like, I'll give it a whirl?
Concerns. I was concerned whether or not I could do the kind of movements that I was seeing the other people do. I was concerned about pull-ups, push-ups, rowing. Oh, well, I guess that's a lot of it, isn't it? Um, I don't think I had any concerns about uh, no apprehensions about going, just a lot of apprehension about I'm not really sure what I'm doing. But that's where the coaching comes in. And I brag on this gym because the coaching is so consistent, it's so prevalent, and the only way you can really make a mistake is if you ignore coaching.
Well, thank you. That's kind of huge for us because that's really what we're after. We want consistent experience, and we want people to feel like they're learning and improving, and that they can listen to us and achieve their goals. We don't want people to think that, well, maybe they don't have my best interests in mind or something like that. So we really want people to, all of our coaches really care about improving each member. So.
Oh yeah, I agree with that 100%.
So when you started, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. How many pull-ups could you do when you started?
None.
Yeah.
0. Yeah. Not even partial.
Yeah. And so what did you do in the beginning?
You know what? No. Nobody laughed.
No. Nope.
Nobody laughed that I couldn't do a pull-up.
Nope. Because most people, when they start, cannot do a pull-up. And in fact, it's in our world, because so many of us learn to do them, we almost feel like it's normal. But the rest of the world, most people can't do a pull-up, and that's okay. But we love helping people accomplish that. And now Steve can do pull-ups like no other.
Here's the common thing between somebody who's been working out at a different type of gym and someone who's never worked out at a gym. Both of those people have not prepared the muscle groups to do a pull-up.
Yeah. That's
you just haven't, because it's so many, there's so many different muscle groups involved, and you've not engaged those. And what's cool about CrossFit and coaching in CrossFit is there's always another way to get started on that movement.
Yep.
That's why you need the coach, because the coach can help you work through that, set up some scaling options for you and some adaptive type movements that help you get there.
Yep. And a good coach is going to have more than one way to scale a movement to help you see progress. A good coach, if they know what they're doing, they should have a good 10 plus ways to scale pull-ups, and be able to keep track of which ways they've given you in the past in workouts, and switch it up so that you can make progress on that goal. If you get a coach and they're always just giving you the same scale, you might consider asking them if they have something else, or see if you can maybe get a coach that has a little bit more tools in their tool belt. So
exactly.
So you have achieved a ton of things since you started. What are some of the things you're most proud of?
I hated running, and now I don't love it, but I don't mind it. I don't avoid it. I would avoid running at all costs before I started CrossFit. I could not do any pull-ups. Now I can string together 8 to 10 pull-ups. There's a funny dichotomy of challenges that happens in CrossFit, because as you get better at CrossFit, you build muscle, and as you build muscle, you build weight, and as you build weight, you build it harder for yourself to do the movements you were doing to build the muscle. And so, frankly, there are times when you go, I just 2 weeks ago I could do 12, now I can only eke out 11 or 10 or 9, and I attribute that to, it could be just the day, but it can also be that you're adding muscle mass, and muscle mass is heavier, so your body's having to adapt to moving that muscle mass.
And it will, as long as it's muscle mass that we're putting on, and it's just
got to be careful about the other stuff.
Yes. But and it's kind of cool. It's you got your own built-in weight system, I guess.
Yeah, it does. Pull-ups, push-ups. I couldn't do a push-up when I started. So that's a big win for me. And push-ups is a place where coaching has helped me develop the correct form.
Mhm.
Because in the wrong form, you really hurt yourself more than you help yourself.
Yeah.
And I did hurt myself, not injure, hurt, but degraded my ability to execute the movement.
Mhm.
But thanks to good coaching, that gets resolved.
Yeah.
And also thanks to good coaching, as we get older, there are birthday presents that we get. Sometimes our joints don't move as well as they used to. It could be the wrist, it could be the ankle. But no matter what that challenge has been, there's been someone there who could help me identify how to work with that, work around it, make it better.
Mhm.
Because
And not just suffer through
and not
it.
just suffer through it. There's so many different ways, and I would never have known that was those options were available. So I think CrossFit is, to me, it has been the best thing. Oh, Max is here.
Yep, he's here. He's making some noise back there.
CrossFit has been the best thing I have ever done for my personal health. And some people, when they get older, they worry about hurting themselves. Can you hurt yourself at CrossFit? I suppose you could if you ignore the coaching, if you ignore the advice that you're given. But if you follow the coaching that you're given and you follow the advice that you're given, the only aches and pains you're going to get are because you are making things move that weren't moving before, and you're getting better at it. I would also tell you that I think my fitness level is backed up by comments I've received from my primary care physician and my cardiologist. After you go through a bypass surgery and then you have to have a redo of the bypass surgery, the cardiologist keeps a close watch on you. And CrossFit has no doubt made a vast difference in my cardiac strength, my cardio fitness, and my cardiologist will back that up.
That's always good to hear. A lot of times people, maybe their doctors are not familiar with CrossFit, and we're scared of what we don't really know, and maybe they've only seen some of the injuries that can happen, but there's so much out there that shows how well it can do to improve your overall health. And so I'm glad that your physicians are on board with that and understand that it makes a difference. One of the other things too is that I remember you telling me you're in your spare time in the falls, you like to referee some football. And
I do.
And I remember you saying that you could tell a difference, one particular season that you just seem to have more energy and running up and down, and you were not the youngest one out there, but you sure had no problem keeping up.
that was an epiphanal moment. It really was. I started in April, so that's after football season is concluded. But the next season, I found there was a dramatic difference in my ability to be where I needed to be on the field to make the right calls. And I was not being beat by quarterbacks like I had been, and I was not being beat by changes of possession that ended up going the other way. And I ran completely off the field with my crew trying to keep up with me. So that became the challenge for the crew. If we can keep up with the old guy, we're going to be better off. So
that's kind of fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. And it's made improvements in a whole lot of different areas. We enjoy hiking in the mountains. And I can go a lot longer now than I could before CrossFit. CrossFit provides a lot of functional strength as well. In an ordinary gym, you get isolated on particular movements. CrossFit teaches you how to live life strong. because it's functional movements. It's managing imbalances. It's your body learning how to cope with every day.
Yeah.
And when was the last time you picked up a sack of salt or a sack of sand at the store and tried to move it around? It's not stable.
Right.
Simple things like that. I believe my training at CrossFit has helped me manage those things.
Yeah. Yeah. It just, carrying in the groceries or
Exactly.
playing with your granddaughter or,
Oh, yeah. Well, Kendall, I think she's got more mental stamina than her grandpa does, but that's okay.
That's all right. She's young. But I think it's great. I love when I get to see grandparents and grandchildren able to like run around and play. It's just something that doesn't happen as often anymore. And so the longer you can do that and the longer your grandkids get to experience that, I just think it's great.
Yeah.
So, what would you say is your favorite thing? Like, what is your favorite movement in the gym?
My favorite movement. That's a tough one because I have several that I like doing now. I like doing pull-ups. I like doing push-ups. And, oddly enough, I think probably my favorite is the core workouts, the engaging whatever this core belt is called, sit-ups, V-ups, the GHDs, all of that kind of stuff. I do like that a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a strength for me. Yeah. Rowing, I enjoy.
Yeah. Good. What's least favorite? That's
my
usually
least
easier
favorite
to come up with.
Okay, the least favorite is some of the Olympic lifts.
Okay.
Snatches are really hard for me, and anything overhead that requires me to do a squat with a bar held overhead is a challenge for me. However, I'm convinced that I'm a lot better now than I was 4 years ago.
I would agree with that. And especially squat snatches, overhead squats, those are one of the most difficult movements for most people to do because of the mobility required. Your mobility for those movements has improved greatly over the years, but we still don't, insist that you load up the weight and
exactly.
we know there's benefit there to working on that mobility, but not at a weight that's not safe. And so, I think that your improvement over the years has come from your willingness to be smart about it and not push the pounds on the bar and instead really focus on technique. And that's one of the things Steve here is so good. Like he just really wants to get the right technique down. Some people are just in such a rush to move on to the next thing, and maybe they don't take the time to really, focus on what it is the coach is trying to explain to them.
Youthful exuberance, right?
Yeah. But Steve is really good at taking that responsibility of making sure his technique is good. If he's unsure, he will ask us and have us double check. And I think that's really good. That's just one of the things to have a positive experience with CrossFit. I think it's really important to take that upon yourself that, because us as coaches, we can give you all the recommendations in the world, but if you don't take those and apply them, that's when you can get into trouble. And so I just think that you do a great job at listening to your body and listening to the coaches and just kind of seeing, okay, what are we after here today and what's going to help us in the long run, and not getting wrapped up in, last time my PR was this much, so I need to go up from there. We just take it day by day and see how we feel.
Because every day is different for every athlete. Some days are better than others, and knowing how to manage the off days is only learned through listening to coaches.
And having them, you have to,
Yeah.
everybody's going to experience those off days, and they're just a factor of training. So,
They are.
but they're still going to help you get better in the long run. So, what would you say to anybody that feels like they are too old to start CrossFit?
Bunk. It's total bunk. You're never too old to take responsibility for your fitness and do something about it.
Yeah.
And CrossFit is probably the only fitness that you can find where you can get the kind of coaching that'll help masters, athletes improve. So don't let a fear of I can't do it prevent you from making the decision to do something about your personal fitness. You can look at a lot of different medical research, and it all points to the fact the more active you stay, the more you move, the better off you are as you age. Our bodies are made to move. If we get sedentary, then the body forgets how to do what it's built to do. Mm-hmm. And that's damaging.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And I think it's also important that when we're talking about CrossFit and, people feel like it's too risky for older people. What is your job?
I am the risk manager at Texas Tech University.
So you know a thing or two about risk.
I do know about risk, and as in life, there is risk in everything we do. If you're trying to avoid risk, totally just stay in bed.
Yeah,
just stay in bed.
And then that's going to lead to a whole host of other problems.
Yeah, then you risk a ride in an ambulance, and that's not good either. So
yeah. So is there anything else that you would like to tell our listeners about CrossFit, your experience, your personal history with it, or your goals for the future?
I'll start with my goals. My goals for the future are to stay active and continue CrossFit and continue to improve until I just am physically unable or the good Lord takes me home. So that's goal number one, because that will make me capable of dealing with whatever life throws my way. Some of the things about CrossFit that I think are important is that the functional fitness is very critical for all of us. When you hear about the open competition, don't shy away from that. Don't shy away from that at all. First of all, get in the gym. Get with Melissa and her coaching crew. They're great. They'll work you through and get you to the point you want to be. Set a mental goal that you're going to improve, that you're going to master some of the skills. Then when the open comes around, seize the moment to participate in that. You will find it a family affair like nothing else you've ever been to. And you'll find that the competition is not with your fellow athletes, it's with yourself. It's challenging yourself to do better.
Yeah.
And the other cool thing about CrossFit is for Masters Plus type athletes, they scale things. Mm-hmm. And while it may not be the exact same movement or weight that the younger athletes engage in, it's every bit as exhausting.
Yeah.
And it's every bit as positive and building as what the other athletes go to. And to hear those kids cheer for you, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
They're cheering for me. There's nothing like hearing your name. And it can be anybody in the gym, but it feels good when somebody shouts out your name and says, you can do it.
Yeah.
Come on. Just one more. Even if it's the coach.
Yeah.
Your judge. And this judge right next to me, Melissa she has no reps me many times. And she has also encouraged me. And she's a great coach. Another thing I would suggest to you is that a birthday present again, it escaped me. That was something really profound I was going to say. But
And I will say, Steve has participated in the Open every year since after you joined, right? Or did we miss the one?
I missed half of one because I had to have a medical procedure done. I did the first 3 and didn't make the others.
But every year, and it's a blast. And I think the Open is great for people to it helps kind of set up your focus, give you some goals, and I never walk away from an Open without something new that I want to just really work on and improve. So,
yep. And you'll get some nuggets of wisdom that you probably won't find anywhere else. Melissa's comment, "You're not breathing, you're panting." Minor thing, but it's important. And I'll never forget at my first Open, Jasper, when I was discussing with him, should I scale? He asked me a question. "What? Are you afraid of success?"
It's a good question.
It's a good question.
He's got those good
questions. Are you afraid of success?
Yeah.
CrossFit will give you success. Don't fear success.
Yep. And it's actually such a good point, because I think sometimes people are just so afraid of what might, what they might find, that they just let that keep them from trying something that could be the best thing that they never knew about,
That's right.
What else? I had one more question. Did you think of your great point?
Well, no, but that's okay.
That's okay. Well, anyway, so hopefully you enjoyed our interview here with Steve. He has been just one of our regular members here for 4 years, and we love it, and we just can't wait to see what the future holds for him. And
me too. Thanks, Melissa.
And at some point, we might have 3 generations working out here, because Kendall might be ready for class soon.
It's a very strong possibility. She also talks. She already talks about mom and dad and Papa going to the gym and working out, and she wants to come. Oh, that's another cool thing about this gym. Others are the same, I'm sure, but at this gym, when youngsters come through the door, it's not like you shouldn't be here. They're actually received as family. And Kendall comes in and she'll hug everybody.
Yep.
If they're not too busy to hug her. So
yeah. We have a good group of people here, and it is like family. So.
It is.
Well, thank you, Steve, for joining me
Melissa.
on this podcast.
It was enjoyable.
Second podcast ever. So you're a great guest.
I hope I shared some things that are useful tidbits. Thanks.
Thank you.